Hi, my name is Rachel McIver-Maury at Northfield United Methodist Church. This is the introductory video for the book of Ecclesiastes for those doing the project of reading through the Bible in a year. The book of Ecclesiastes falls in that very big bucket that we find in the Hebrew Bible or Old Testament that we refer to as the writings. And the reason that we can be a little tongue-in-cheek about that is because that really is the miscellaneous category of the Hebrew Bible. Whereas the Pentateuch, the first 5 books of the Bible, really tell a through-line story all the way from the creation all the way through the covenant-making process with Jacob's children, which would become the children of Israel. Then you have the history books, the Chronicles, the Kings, and the transitional books into that, which tell the developing monarchy of the nation that they build. And then when you get to the prophets, they continue to call those people to account and to accountability with the law that they have been given. The writings just function really differently because they don't have the same sort of through line. They aren't as focused on specifically the children of Israel. They're not as specific in their focus. They're really focused. Not all of them, but many of them have a more general sort of sense of application. So the book of Proverbs, the book of Ecclesiastes, the book of Job, these are all books that are part of the writings category. And all of them deal with a universal frame of who God is and the human condition. So Ecclesiastes very much falls in that vein. Traditionally, the book of Ecclesiastes has been associated with King Solomon, who is David's son, but by the grammar of the book and the themes of writing and the language, the Hebrew language that's used, it's really, really unlikely that that's when that book came together, at least in its final form. The Hebrew that is used for the book of Ecclesiastes in its original form really reflect what we would call a post-exilic writing time, which means it looks like it came together after the Babylonian exile, which was hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years later. And there's nothing really in the book that points to the socioeconomic reality that would have been present during Solomon's reign, but lots that points to things that would have been true during the post-exilic period. So that's one thing to keep in mind. Another thing to keep in mind is this book does not have structure. So if you're looking for a method to the madness, maybe put your attentions and your energies elsewhere. The writer is very much focused on figuring out the age-old question, what is good? What is worthy? And there's tensions in the book because he reaches sort of different conclusions at different times. And if you spend too much time trying to resolve those inherent sorts of contradictions, you're going to be running around in circles. Instead, I invite you to take the journey with the author and to think about the inherent contradictions we carry in ourselves about so many things, and times when we ourselves have concluded differently than we have before about questions as essential as what is good and what is worthy. Some of the more famous themes in the book of Ecclesiastes is all is vanity. Perhaps you've heard that. And very famously, there was a song written based on Ecclesiastes 4, to everything there is a season and a time for every purpose under heaven. So that there is an essential divine quality to the fact that things are seasonal, and that there's some comfort that we can take from the conclusion that the author draws, that all things have their time and all things have their purpose. So take this one slowly. Don't try to force it into a particular set of conclusions, because about the time you do that, the writer will shift on you. But understand that this author is taking the question very seriously and invites us to do the same of what is good and what is worthy. As always, we have our 3 questions. Where is God in what I am reading? Secondly, what thoughts, ideas, or concepts are challenging to me and why? And then the third, what's going on in the world today which might intersect with what I am reading? Thanks a lot. Happy reading.